Hello everybody, this is Kostas Tsakas and this is our 14th tutorial in Photoshop. On this tutorial I'm going to keep on talking about color models. And let's just remember that in the previous tutorial we were talking about the RGB color model. And I want to remind us of one more thing, what a color model is. And a color model is basically the model that you use in order to describe a color. Now the next color model we're going to view in this tutorial is the CMYK color model, and that's the second most used color model. So let's just see what everything stands for. C stands for cyan, M stands for magenta, Y stands for yellow, and K stands for K, which is basically black. And if all of this sounds familiar, that is because those are the colors of your printer. And this model is basically only used by printers, and there's a reason for that. First of all, let's think of how the RGB color model operates. Well, the RGB color models basically works this way. The more colors you add to it, the whiter the color gets. Whereas the CMYK color model basically operates the other way. The more colors you add to it, the darker the color becomes. So I was thinking of it when I was a kid, and I was saying, everybody was saying, well, if you add all of your colors together, you're gonna get white. But that didn't happen. I put all of my pencils down, I drew on top of each other, and I got black. And that is because the RGB color model only works with light, and the CMYK color model works with ink and stuff like that. So I have this picture that is great for demonstrating this, and over here is how the RGB color model works. You can see that if I add different colors of light over here, we get this white area at the middle. And that's how our eye perceives light in the first place, and that's where the idea came for the RGB color model, and it became a standard. Now the CMYK color model, as you can see, adding those three different colors together gives us this dark color. So basically that's why our printer uses this model, just because this is how the printer operates in the first place. And let's just write that down. So full color basically gives us dark, gives us a dark shade. And if each channel has a full color, we get a dark color. Now no color means white, just because nothing is printed on the paper, so we get the white paper as it is, right? And now what we have here is 4 channels, and you might be thinking, well, in the RGB model we could just do with 3 channels. What do we need the fourth channel for? And that is because if you combine cyan, magenta, and yellow, you don't get black, you just get a dark color. In order to get genuine black color, you need a genuine black ink. And that's why the 4th channel is there for. So I guess you learned a little bit about printers as well right now. Now the next model we're going to look into is the lab model. And we still have 3 channels, but only 2 of them are color channels. The A and B channels are color channels, which means that they have to do with color. They hold color. So combining those A and B channels, you basically get your color. So A plus B gives you your color. And what the L stands for is lightness. Lightness. And that's basically luminosity. Luminosity. So you first get your color from the A and B channels, and the L channel gives you the lightness of your color. And that's how you describe the color this way. And that's basically the most difficult color model to comprehend. You can look it up in Wikipedia if you want to. Now the next color model we're going to get into is the Grayscale color model. And let's just write that down. The Grayscale color model, Grayscale is with C, Grayscale. Well, what that basically is, it has only 1 channel. And you might be thinking, 1 channel? What color is that going to be? Well, it's basically starts from white. It can take values from 2 to 255, just like any other channel. And it starts from white, and it goes towards gray, and then it ends as black. So basically, you only might see this channel if you have a black and white image. That's the only place that that channel might be used. Because you cannot have one channel and actually make combinations of colors. That would just be far too little colors. Now the bitmap color color mode. I'm sorry, bitmap color mode has one channel as well, and what's the difference from the grayscale color model is that it can only take the value 0 and 255. So those are the only values you can take, and that's what basically means white and black pixels, just white and black pixels. And you don't really want that, so I don't know why I even mentioned it, but I don't even know its uses. So just keep that in mind if it ever comes up. Now the HSP color model is to me the most interesting one. Well, the H stands for hue. And well, what hue means is basically if you had a wheel with all of the colors inside it, just like this one, and right here you had all of the colors and they were changing as you went around the wheel. Well, basically how you count hue, how you get the color is using degrees. And for example, at 30 degrees you might have one color, at 50 degrees you're going to have a different color. And the S stands for saturation. Saturation. And saturation basically is how vivid the color is going to be, how vivid it's going to be. And we're going to see that later on when we go in Photoshop. Now the B stands for brightness, and I think that is pretty brightness. That's pretty self-explanatory. This channel just sets the brightness of your color. So let's just now go in Photoshop. If you go on this little icon down here, you can basically just click on it and it'll pop up the color picker. Now let's just view the HSP color model first. As you can see, here's the lab color model and the CMYK color model as well. Now the hue just changes as we move this bar over here, this 2 R's over here, and that is because the color changes. And imagine this as being the color wheels, where you start over here at 360 degrees and you end over here, well, basically you start over here at 0 degrees and you end up here at 360 degrees. Imagine this as being circular, kind of. Now the next is the saturation, and the saturation is, as I said, how vivid the color is going to be. So if we start from white and start going towards blue, you see that the saturation of our color increases, and that is because the color becomes more vivid. White is not that such a vivid color, but as we go towards blue, you can see that we get a more vivid blue color over here. Now the brightness changes as we go down, and that is obvious probably because black color does not have any brightness, whereas the white color has a lot of bright. It's like very bright. Now to better demonstrate this, you can select the S option, and that stands for saturation, and according to saturation you can determine your color. Now you can see that if I increase the saturation from this bar, all of the colors become more vivid, and as I go down they all become less vivid basically. So you can better understand saturation this way. Now if I click on brightness over here, what's going to happen is as I move along this bar, I'm going to get less and less bright colors, and I'm going to end with a black board, which is basically all of the colors are black. And well, when there's total blackness you can't see any colors. So you get the idea of the HSP channel. Now let's just go back to normal. And the lab channel is the most difficult to comprehend, as I said. You can see that if I choose the L, A, and B modes, we get those weird ways of selecting colors, and that basically has to do with the way lab color mode is basically configured, and I can't explain it to you right now. Now the CMYK color model is over here, and all of its channels are counted in percentage. And as you can see, whenever we select a different color, the CMYK values of it are going to appear here, and that's basically how much color a printer would use in order to print this color from each one. Now finally, before we leave, I just want to mention one last thing, and that is the hexadecimal value of a color right here. Now in the RGB color model, as we saw, everything is represented in numerical values over here from 0 to 255. Over here what we have is basically the same color as in the RGB color model. It's just that every two letters stands for the red, green, and blue, and basically you can also use you actually use numbers and letters as well, and it's used on the web usually, and it's called the hexadecimal form of your color. So I hope you learned something from this tutorial, guys, and I hope you really enjoyed it. So see you next time. Bye bye.